Yo, what is up guys and welcome back to a brand new
Unlucky buddy.
PSGL League Racing video on F1 24. Today we're racing around Silverstone and as you can see we're back in the multiplayer cars in League Racing. Previously we were racing in the Alpine. Now the reason for that is because there are a lot of drivers and teams that think the equal cars are not equal, and that's why we're back in a multiplayer car. Personally, I don't believe it. I've tested all cars. I did the exact same lap times with every single car, actually, on multiple tracks. So, yeah, I'm not sure where this has come from. I'm not a fan of the multiplayer cars purely due to the fact that you don't know who your teammate is going to be during the race. It's kind of random. Now the pit boxes get assigned at your first pit stop, so in a usual league race you're not going to be screwed over, as there are not going to be 20 cars boxing at the same time. But in case of a safety car or a wet weather race, it can get messy and your race can be completely screwed. In case of a wet race or a second pit stop, I should say. So yeah, we're back in the multiplayer car. At the same time, I don't mind it too much. It's just not a fan of it because of the pit stops, and I think it just looks a little bit ugly.
No reason for this to take so long. The fuck?
Yes, I'm not happy with the train. As you can see, ghosting is on, and that's because of the overpowered slipstreams in F1 24. And yeah, that's just to cause less chaos. So yeah, multiplayer cars it is. I don't care too much, but here we go. Q1, first lap in Q1, and we're gonna try and get into Q2 on a single lap here. And not a great turn 3 and turn 4. You can see having to correct the car a few times. But yeah, maybe we can still make it through into Q2 on a single set of tires. Purple first sector. 27.200. Again, having to correct the car a few times through there, again through there, and yeah, the car is a handful at the moment. But yeah, also kind of due to the fact that I didn't really practice Q1 or Q2, or actually I just did not practice. So I'm having to feel the waters here for the first time. And now the reason I didn't practice it because I just wanted full focus on qualifying. Q3, practicing setup, trying to understand the setup, and yeah, that's my main objective at the moment, trying to get to grips with F1 24 setups. Of course, a big change to F1 23, and setups just react completely differently, so it's hard to get on top of, and you can see that in the results as well. 1 week or one track to the other, you're gonna see completely different people on pole position. Last week out it was Danny Bresny, of course, by quite a margin as well, ahead of Barry Bormand. But yeah, here in Q1 I had to go out again because that first lap was too scruffy, but on the second lap we got it much better together and we jumped from P13 to P1. We could have gone through on that first run as well, but yeah, I felt like it was gonna be too close. It actually was really close. It was like 100 away from actually going out in Q1. So yeah, we simply had to go out again there. And there were two people with quali bans, Freddie Rasmussen and Joshi Dowu. So yeah, only 3 people went out actually in Q1. I think one of them was Isan Puki. I don't remember the rest. But on to Q2 we go. This is a used tire run, and again, not a great lap, not clean. A lot of big moments again. As Declan Barrett comes across the line, 25.638. We are half 10 behind it, which is not too bad. We are around 1.5 tenths away from Brendan. Considering how scruffy of a lap it was, I was not too unhappy with that. But now we go into our first new tire run in Q2. Most likely we're gonna have to go out again anyway, just like everyone else, because Q2 is very competitive usually, relative to Q1. So to the final corner we go again, having to correct the car a lot of times, and it is going to be a 0.419, which puts us P11 heading into the final run. So the pressure is on. But I reckon the pressure is on for everyone between P15 and P3, more or less. So we just have to nail it here. It looks like we're lacking a tiny bit of pace. Maybe not lacking pace, but we're just lacking drivability. You can see I'm having to correct the car all the time. And that's just hurting our pace a little bit. Unless we get in a really clean lap. It's just really difficult at the moment with our current setup to get a clean lap in. Through sector 1 we go. 100 up. Now, I remember in Q2 I had a bit of a snap there. Which as you can see lost us like a few hundreds. Maybe just 100 actually. So into cops we go. Easy flat out, as you can see there on this game. And then even maggots and baggage, this whole section is completely flat out. And then this right-hander is just a lift. Into the final sector we go. You can see we are 400s up. And we're going to have to improve more than this if we want to make it into Q3. So time to clutch up here, otherwise we're going to be out. In Q2, through stall we go. You can see good gain, 200s gain to our previous lap. Into the final chicane we go. And we get some beautiful rotation through there, much more minimum speed, better exit. And it's going to be a 110 improvement. And that puts us up to P4. And that's enough for Q3. So, yeah, relatively happy with the lap. It was our first, maybe second real clean lap. Our final Q1 lap was quite clean as well, of course. But, yeah, this was decent as well. P5, 1.5 tenths away. And, yeah. Time to clutch up in Q3. That's what we've practiced all the time. As you can see there in the bottom, Barry Bormand and Lucas Blakely out in Q2. Now, I do not remember the last time that has happened. That either one of them went out or both of them went out is crazy to me. I do not remember both of them going out in a qualifying session. So yeah, of course Lucas had a bit of a difficult season in F1 esports, but to see both of them go out is crazy. But that shows how crazy competitive F1 league racing is these days. I remember back in the day I could turn up
not
to
so bad for you, Star.
a race hangover and win, but these days are just over. No one can do that anymore really, unless you practice really hard for it. But yeah, these days you have to practice really hard. Everyone has to practice crazy hard to even make it into Q3. Or Q2 actually, if there are no qualifying bans. But enough with the nonsense. On to our final run in Q3. You can see we are half a tent up. Currently P7. And I think we're first on the used tire run. It was a 25.3, which is quite solid. On the used tire, there's a banker. Into sector 2 we go. It's a 0.0 first sector. That's good. That's really good. And now we need to keep improving through sector 2. You can see constantly having to correct the back end through every single corner. The car is incredibly pointy and exactly how I want. So now we need to hook it up nicely. Easy flat out through cops. Just need to get the apex and then maggots and baggets all the way flat out. We just have to keep the back end stable through this whole section. You can see having to correct all the time early on the power, and we're gonna open the DRS into the final sector, and that's a good split, a 102.013. That could be enough for pole position. Manley goes to provisional P1, I think so. Maybe it was actually someone else. Does not matter. We have to focus on our own lap into the final chicane we go. We've gotten a little bit deep in the final corner, and that could have cost us pole position there. Across the line we go, and it has cost us.
Threw it away in the last corner.
A lot. It's P4 across the line. Otis Lawrence on pole position, around 1.5 tenths ahead of us. Now, I think if I nailed that last chicane like I did in Q2, then we would have gone P2 maybe, not pole, but yeah, would have been P2 in that case. So, little bit of a, it was not even a massive mistake, but yeah, just enough to cost us a few positions. P4 it is. Otis Lawrence on pole ahead of Thomas Ronhaar, Danny Bresnay P3, ourselves in P4, Shanika Clay P5, Tom Manley P6, Ismail Fassi P7, Declan Barrett P8, Brendan Lee P9, and Jake Benham in P10. Onto the race we go now then. And as you can see, it is full wet conditions. It's gonna be 5 red lights for PSGL round number 2 around Silverstone. And away we go. And as you can see, we've gone for the China strat. We are on intermediates in full wet conditions. You can see a lot of people around us on the full wets. Tom Manley behind us on the intermediates. And we're straight away gonna go on the attack on the full wet run. As you can see that we already seem to have more grip straight away in turn 3. And I did not expect that at all. I expected to struggle at least for the first few laps and to perhaps drop to outside of the top 10, but you can see we straight away got the grip we need to attack the top 3, and that's a huge advantage because it is going to dry up, or maybe not dry up, but it's going to get drier on later in this race, and that means we are going to be on the right tire straight away without having to make a pit stop. So this is huge for our race. The fact that we've got full grip on these intermediates more than those wet runners ahead of us means that we've got a huge advantage and probably a full pit stop advantage. You can see Thomas sliding around already. It's just gonna take us around a lap to warm up those intermediates, and then we can start going for overtakes. And you can see those full wets just not working already in those high speed corners, and we're gonna perhaps have a little look into Stowe already. We're quite far away. Those inters do need a lap in these conditions to get up to temperature, of course, so we need to be patient. We are basically, if our inters keep being faster and keep working like this, we are in a net race lead. P2 Tom Manley. I can't see who else is on the intermediates, but it seems like everyone around is on the full wets. Otis still in the lead, no real changes. Danny Bresnay up to P2, of course. And yeah, you can see Thomas still sliding around, struggling. And yeah, full wets just not working. And especially mid-corner, the full wets seem to have a massive disadvantage. On the traction, we're still struggling a little bit relative to the full wets, but that's slowly gonna fade away as well when our full intermediates get up to temperature. Into the second sector we go of lap 2. I'm gonna leave Thomas the space on the outside, of course. We set a purple first sector, and we're gonna go all the way around the outside. And Thomas has to leave us a space because we were next to him on the turn-in. Slightly different rules to real Formula 1. But yeah, up to P3 we go. On the entry curve of Cops. Cops obviously not flat out in these conditions, but now we're gonna start hunting down Danny Bresnay in P2. And now, as you can see, just one lap later, we've already caught up to Danny Bresnay in P2. And those full wets seem to be getting worse and worse by the lap. And that means we're gonna go on the attack into Stowe corner. Struggling a little bit on straight line speed. Could be the slipstream as well, of course, of Otis Lawrence. Slipstream a lot stronger on F124. But down the inside we go, and we've got so much more grip that there's not really a contest. And now Otis Lawrence up next. We almost run into the back of them here. Into the back of Otis there. And yeah, now we just need to be patient, not make any stupid moves. He set the fast lap of the race there, 39.7. And into turn 3, it seems like it's going to be no contest for Otis. We're going to outbrake him and take the lead of the race in lap number 4 on those intermediates. Now Tom Manley's still in P4. Did manage to overtake Thomas in P5. But now this is a great opportunity to extend the gap to the rest of the field. We set fast lap there. However, Lucas went 200 faster than us. And Lucas on the intermediates as well. He has gone for the same strategy as us. So has Declan Barrett in P5. But you can see the advantage we have now to the people who started on the full wets. We are gonna head almost into sector 2 already. And there are people that still have to cross the start-finish line because they are a full pit stop down already. And had to box for a set of intermediates because those full wets were just not working anymore. And you can see the gap we have to the rest of the grid in lap 15. Lucas Blakely has caught up, to us. He had great pace on the intermediates.
Inters seem to be the fastest tyre for now.
As I'm asking Jeff for a weather report, but instead I'm getting a tyre report. Has only been like this for the past 5 years in the game, by the way. Anyway, back to the race we go. You can see Tom Manley from P3 boxing. So, yeah, different strategies here because I'm gonna try to make it to the end on this set of intermediates. I did not want to box again. Due to the fact I just felt like the zero stop was gonna be much faster. And if I was gonna box, I felt like I was just gonna hand the victory to Lucas. So, staying out here to the end of the race. Now the question is, of course, can our tires make it? And that's what I've been calculating over the past few laps.
Only pit to new enter.
It's gonna be close, but with our current average tire wear, we will make it. So I'm just gonna be saving lap after lap. We got a 14-second advantage, Josh, in P3. Now, he started last, also on the intermediates, and yeah, he has to box as well. And yeah, boxing around Silverstone is quite a big loss. So that's another reason I didn't want to box for a new set of intermediates, because there's a lot of time to make up. Now the risk we're facing here is if it dries up like crazy, we might completely destroy these inters, and we still have to box for a new set of inters. Now on to lap 20, 4 laps later. You can see Lucas really close behind us, and had to defend a little bit there to keep him behind. Barry Bormant in P4 with a 3-second penalty, 12 seconds behind. Now you can see Josh has caught up to us by 3 seconds, and that's just because I've been saving my tires over the past 4 laps. So we are losing around a lap to him. Now, as you can see, slowly but surely it's starting to dry up, and more I'm starting to question, can we make this to the end? Can we? Shannon calculates it's a 33.4. We are lapping in the 36s, even 37 sometimes. So we're losing 3 seconds per lap at the moment to the people on new intermediates, and that made me wonder, was the one stop the right call to make? Now, the issue is the tire wear. That's the real worrying part, because obviously if I could push flat out, I would be going much faster as well, but that's the issue. We can't, especially if it keeps drying up like this. You can see there's no wet patches anymore. It's too dry, and me and Lucas really have to not fight her in order to keep Tom Manley at bay, who is now in P3, 8.6 seconds behind. Now, you might be thinking, it's only gonna be 4 laps to the end from here, but he's gaining by 3 seconds per lap. Now, 4 multiplied by 3 is 12, and that means he's gonna have a 3-second advantage by the end of this race.
And the puncture, I will get a puncture by the front.
Lucas moves past us and decides to push because he has realized Manley is gonna win this race if he does not get on with it. Now, I just had to accept. I knew if I start pushing now with 4 laps to go, I'm not making it, and we are gonna get a puncture. We will drop out of the points. So it's a tough situation here. All I can do is accept at the moment and hope something happens to Tom and something happens to Lucas. In a dream scenario, of course, Tom would disconnect and Lucas gets punctured, but at the moment it looks like we're not gonna be winning this race because we are at the brink of a tire failure with 3.5 laps to go. And you can see I just can't carry any speed. I can't put any load into these tires. I can't push these tires at all, and Manley is gaining every corner. Tenths, 2, 3, 4 tenths per corner, and we can't do anything about it. Now, obviously we could box now, but that would be accepting loss and accepting that we're not going to win this race. That's not an option. We would be gaining 3-4 seconds per lap to what we're doing now, maybe even 5, but that would not make up for the pit stop loss and yeah, we will be potentially dropping even more points than just P3. Declan Barrett in P4 has made a pit stop as well, and he is gaining fast as well.
We can't. It's not possible.
4.1 seconds behind us, so he's someone we have to consider as well. It's gonna be 2 laps to the end from here, and Tom Manley 6 tenths behind. So, yeah, with a 3-second pace advantage per lap, this is not gonna be defendable. I'm not going to. I'm gonna wave Tom Manley through into turn 3 straight away, because I'm not gonna be able to keep him behind. You can see he knew I was not fighting that, because there's no option. My main concern now is not getting a puncture and staying ahead of Declan Barrett.
Focus is on P3.
Staying ahead of Declan. Now they had a 3-second per lap advantage, but they've been pushing the tires hard as well. So yeah, the gap,
and even that's going to be difficult. My rears are cooked.
The gap advantage is getting less and less between the people who boxed as well, of course, because they are pushing like crazy, lap after lap. 2.6 seconds the advantage to Declan. Now I have left something in the tank for 1 push lap, and I did that on purpose, because especially in the last 2-3 laps I realized I wasn't going to be able to keep Tom behind, and I was just hoping Tom and Lucas started fighting, and that could potentially open the door for us for 1 final push on the final lap. However, it seems like it's not really going to be a fight between Tom and Lucas, and we're going to have to use those tires to defend from Declan in this very final lap. So here we go then. It's still raining, but the track seems dry as we head into the final lap of this race. We've got quite a bit of ERS to play with as well, and you can see Lucas already has to defend into turn 1 from Tom Manley, and they're going to be going side by side into turn number 3. Lucas defends the inside, they go side by side. Lucas runs wide into turn 3, and it opens the door for us. As I said earlier on, Lucas seems to be struggling on the tires as well. On that last lap, he only gained a 10 to us, and as I said, we have left something in the tank. So can we go on the attack instead of defending from Declan Barrett on this final lap? We're gonna have to wait and find out, but you can see we have a grip advantage to Lucas in this final lap, and that's what I was hoping for. That's what I was kind of praying for right here. Lucas has been pushing to extend that gap to us, but now, after that little fight with Tom, it has opened the door for us, and perhaps we have more ERS as well, more slipstream as well into the final sector. A little bit of a mistake from us through cops, but we got the slipstream and we got the tire advantage. You can see how much more grip we have through Maggots, regaining tenths. Lucas runs wide through Maggots and Beckett and gets a puncture. We have to avoid him, and now we have to defend from Declan Barrett into the final sector, into Stowe. It seems like we've got more battery in our advantage though, and we can fend him off into Stowe, but let's not forget he has this tire advantage though, so we're gonna have to go defensive
I was so lucky at full battery there.
Into the final 2 corners. Declan sends it down the inside. We managed to stay ahead into the final corner, and we're gonna be finishing second with absolutely no rubber left on these tires. We've calculated it to perfection.
Yes, come on, boys.
And we actually set a personal best lap there in the very last lap. Very much needed that. And the margins for error were so small, as you could see there. The difference between winning and P14 were perhaps 1 or 2% on tire wear, and it was so close. Disappointing that we didn't win, of course. We chose the wrong strategy. In the end, it all came down to, pushing slightly too hard in the first few laps, a slightly wrong setup, it drying up 2 laps too early. The margins were so small that I think heading into this, no one could have predicted the right strategy. But it is P2, and we take the championship lead with that. And that's all that counts. I think in a race like this, you need to be happy to finish on the podium and even finish the race. Because the margins for error were nothing. It was absolutely nothing. Tom Manley nailed the strategy though, together with Declan Barrett as well actually. I think we could see in the opening few laps. We had the pace advantage, but yeah, we chose the wrong strategy. So GG's to them. They deserve it very, very much. And yeah, we bring home 12 points. PSGL point system slightly different, of course. I will put the PSGL standings up for the next race. I felt like there was no point putting them up for this one, due to the fact we've only done one race heading into this one. We finished 5th. Lucas won the last race, but now we are leading the championship heading into round number 3, which I think is going to be Suzuka. So yeah, really good track, of course. Not great for racing, in league racing for some reason. But yeah, we're going to have to wait and see how it all pans out. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to like and subscribe for more league racing content, and see you guys next time. Also, make sure to check out jarnoopmeer.com for sim racing gloves and my merchandise. Ciao!